to bake me happy, this week we made these super cute ghost cupcakes for Halloween. So basically I started with a chocolate cupcake mix. You don't have to use chocolate, obviously, you can do whatever you like. I baked that in a 1/12 cup muffin tray and then a mini muffin tray as well. So in total you need 12 cupcakes and 6 mini muffins, but I mean whatever your cupcake recipe yields you, just use that and do that, because why not have extra cupcakes? So I did that, I put them in the oven, cooked them off for however long they needed, took them out and let them cool completely. I then put half of them in the freezer. I put 6 of the larger cupcakes and all of the mini muffins in the freezer to harden up a little bit so that assembly would be a little bit easier. I then made some ganache and I let that set in the fridge for a little while so that it was quite thick, just to make sure that the cupcakes would actually stick together as opposed to just kind of like sliding off. So I did that, and then I took the cupcakes out of the freezer. I took this little tiny kind of cheese butter knife thing. If you have a mini spatula, you can use that, or you can use a knife. It's really up to you, whatever you find easier to control. So I took one of the larger cupcakes and I put that in front of me. Then I also took the frozen larger cupcake and I peeled the case away from that, and I peeled the case off of the mini cupcake as well, which was also frozen. So I spread some ganache onto the cupcake that wasn't frozen and then upturned the cupcake onto the top so that it was stacking. So we've now got a double height cupcake with the bottoms on each end. And then I took the mini cupcake, and I found it easier if I put the ganache onto the top of the mini cupcake as opposed to the bottom of the other cupcake, just because the top's more sturdy, because it's created kind of a skin in the oven. So I put the ganache on that and then upturned that onto the top of the cake, so I've got a really tall cupcake now. So I set those up into the freezer to kind of stiffen a little bit so that they would stay stacked. And then I put my ganache into the microwave for about 10 seconds, and that melted just enough around the edge so that when I stirred it through it was a little bit runnier but still not extremely runny, and was still kind of holding its shape when I was stirring it. I took the cupcakes out of the freezer and I kind of took a huge spoonful of the ganache that was melted, put it on top of the mini cupcake and used my little knife to spread it down the cupcake all the way around to get a nice even coat. I did that for all 6 of the cupcakes and then put them back in the freezer again to set. While they were setting, I took my white fondant and I rolled it up and separated it into 6 parts, and then, because we need one to cover each cupcake, and then I took each part, rolled it in my hands for a little bit, rolled it out onto the bench on top of some cornflour. You can use icing sugar, cornflour, if you want vegetable shortening on your thing. Just make sure it doesn't stick, pretty much. So I rolled that out on top of the bench and into a circle. I don't really know how wide it was. Maybe a bit bigger than my hands. Like that. I just kind of eyeballed it and made sure that it would kind of drape over the cupcake and cover it mostly. So I rolled that out and then I took the cupcake out of the freezer, and this is the really, really important part. When I first tried this, it did not work because I didn't do this. You need to take your finger, and I know it sounds a bit gross, but push the ganache down so that it's really, really smooth on the top, because you need to keep in mind that the fondant that you put on top of the cake is going to show every lump and bump that you've got in the icing. So smooth that out as best as you can. It's basically only the mini cupcake that you need to smooth, because the rest of the cake will just kind of be folds of the ghost's skirt. But yeah, so it's just the top that you need to smooth off, but you need to make sure that you do that. If your ganache has been setting for a long time, you might want to consider putting the tiniest, weeniest bit of simple syrup on top, which is just equal parts sugar and water. I didn't need to do this because my ganache was sticky enough, so I took it out and then I'd let it sit on the bench for a little bit so that it became a bit more tacky and it had melted a tiny bit. So I took my circle of white fondant and I draped it over the top of the cupcake, and then I basically just used my fingers to create folds to make it look like basically a sheet over a person as a kind of classic ghost costume. So I draped that over the top and I created the folds with my fingers, and then I took some black writing icing and put 2 dots for eyes and then a little squiggly mouth. I mean, you can make whatever facial expression that you want for your little ghosts. I just chose to do a little kind of spooky, crazy, unsure kind of ghost. And yeah, that's basically it. So, these cupcakes are really, really good if it's your first time using fondant and you're not that confident, or if you want to make a really small batch of something for Halloween, maybe just for your family, because this makes only 6. But do keep in mind that if you eat 1 cupcake, it is pretty much the equivalent of 2.5. So that might be a bit difficult to get the guilt off your back for those ones. This is kind of a cuter alternative for a Halloween treat, but if you do want to see something scary, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and comment what you'd like to see down below. Make sure you click subscribe to see more videos from me, and you can check out my previous video and my next video, and they will be linked on the screen right now, as well as all my social media, and they'll be in the description box down below. I'll see you next time. Bye!